Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Kairullah bin Zainal. I'm from 8022A. So, for my subject agr405, I'm gonna present about the deforestation in Malaysia. So, for the first slide that I make, what is deforestation? So, deforestation is referred to the decrease in forest area across the world that are lost for other uses such as agriculture, croplands, urbanizations, or mining activities. So it is greatly accelerated by humans since 1960s. So deforestation has been negatively affect the natural ecosystem, biodiversity, and the climate. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization estimate the annual rate of deforestation to be around 1.3 million kilometer square per decade. What is the causes of the deforestation? So there are three: deforestation of agriculture, deforestation by construction, and the last one is deforestation by urbanization. So I'm gonna talk first about the deforestation by agriculture, that is around 80%. So my question is, why is deforestation happening? So according to the FAC, agriculture causes around 80% of the deforestation. So how does agriculture cause so much of the deforestation? So according to the report that FAQ made, 33% of agriculture cost deforestation is consequences subsistence agriculture, such as local peasant agriculture development, commercial or industrial agriculture. So for the commercial or industrial agriculture, that is around 40% of the forest loss. So the next one is deforestation by the construction, that is around 15%. The construction of human infrastructure such as building and many others. So that is more specifically, that is causes by the 10% of deforestation that this attribute to the new infrastructure that serve the current human lifestyle, such as transportation, transformation, and energy generation. For the next one is deforestation by urbanization. This is only around 5%. The population shift that is leading people to move from rural area to urban area is also the contribution to the deforestation. It is 5% according to the FAC. This urban growth is which 68% of the world population. So that is expected to leave cities by the 2050. So it is leading to an exponential growth of housing and consumption areas. That the cities so become larger, that they can host more people. They challenge the natural boundaries surrounding them. That is often leading to the deforestation. This is one of the reasons why deforestation is happening. So next, what is the effect of the deforestation? So there are five. The first one is effect on biodiversity. Second one is effect on local people and livelihood. Third one is the effect on food insecurity in the future. The fourth one is soil erosion, and the last one is lead to the climate change. So we talk about the first one, my first point, that is effect on biodiversity. So by destroying the forest, human activity, the first threat is the threat to biodiversity. In fact, that forests represent some of veritable hubs of biodiversity. So, by destroying the forest, human activities are putting entire ecosystem in danger. That is create natural imbalance and putting life at threat. The natural world is complex, interconnected, and made of thousands of interdependencies. And among other functions, trees provide shade and colder temperature for animals and symmetry or vegetation which not survive with the heat of direct sunlight. So the next one is effect on local people and livelihood. So 1 billion of whom are among the world forests. Among the world poorest. This means there are many people depending on forests for survival and using them to hunt and gather raw product for the small scale agriculture process. But in the developing countries such as Borneo, Indonesia, Vietnam, Brazil, or Mexico, land tenure systems are weak. So this allows big businesses to get this land and use them for other ends. That is disrupting local people's life. So for my third point, that is effect on insecurity, food insecurity in the future. Today, 52% of all the land used for food production is moderately or severely impacted by soil erosion. In the long term, the lack of healthy and nutritious soil can lead to low yields and food insecurity. My fourth point is the soil erosion. Deforestation weakens and degrades soil. Forested soil are usually not only richer on organic matter but also more resistant to erosion, bad weather, and extreme weather event. This happen mainly because the root help the fix trees in the ground, and the sunblock tree cover helps the soil to slowly dry out. As a result, this deforestation will probably mean the soil become increasingly fragile, leaving the area more vulnerable to natural disasters such as landslides and floods. Deforestation also has a very strong contribution to climate change. Why? Okay, let's remember the trees absorb and store carbon dioxide throughout their leaves. If we speak about tropical forests, they hold more than 210 gigatons of carbon, according to WWF. And what's worrying is that the destruction of these trees has two big negative side effects. Firstly, taking down trees means they release back into the atmosphere the carbon dioxide they were keeping. Secondly, fewer trees available means the reducing the planet's overall ability to capture and store the carbon dioxide. So next is where deforestation occur. So there are three places, that is Amazon rainforest, Indonesia and Brunei, and Africa. So for the first one, Amazon rainforest. Brazil and Amazon forests are also important for the wrong reason deforestation areas worldwide. The Amazon rainforest is one of the world's largest forest hotspot with huge biodiversity reserves. Its ability to store carbon and produce oxygen makes it of the lungs of the planet. So the second one is Indonesia and Borneo. Indonesia and the island of Borneo are the emblematic symbol of the global phenomenon of deforestation. So this region in Southeast Asia is naturally one of the richest reserve of forest and biodiversity in the world. But at the same time, it is also one of the regions that have been suffering the most deforestation in recent decades. So the last one is Africa. You know Africa, right? So Africa is also the large area suffering from deforestation. There is, in fact, it experiences more deforestation than Asia. It is around 2 million hectares of forest disappear each year in Africa. So let's talk about RSPO. What is RSPO? RSPO, in response to the urgent and the pressing global call for sustainable produce palm oil. So the Roundtable of Sustainable Palm Oil, as RSPO, was formed in 2004. Its main objective is to promoting the growth and use of sustainable oil palm product through credible global standard and engagement of stakeholders. The RSPO is a global non-profit initiative that unites stakeholders from the 7 sectors of the oil palm industry. That is oil palm producer, the processor or traders, the consumer goods, the manufacturers, the retailers, the bank, and the environmental and social non-governmental organization to develop and implement the global sustainable palm oil. So RSPO certified sustainable palm oil is internationally recognized. Moreover, membership demonstrates a first step forward. It is the commitment to sustainable palm oil. So the principle and criterion RSPO on deforestation. So according to the criterion 7.3, it have not replaced primary forest or any area. It required to maintain or enhance one or more high conservative values. So this activity should be integrated with the SEIA that required by 7.1 criterion. This criterion applies to forest and other vegetation types. This applies of the irrespective of any changes in the land ownership or farm management that have taken place after this date. So the HCV, the high conservation values, may be identified in restricted areas of a landholding, and in such cases, it is new planting can be planned to allow the HCV to be maintained or enhanced. So how the RSPO works? So the first one is the RSPO principle and criteria is the best way for companies and government to meet their no deforestation, no pit, no exploitation commitment, and as it applies to palm oil sourcing policies. So the next one is the certification standard, such as RSPO, offer a real opportunity to take responsibility and become part of the solution. So the third one is the the effort of RSPO members. That is, they are welcome the legislative action from government to include our standard in their policies from national interpretation of the RSPO standard for growers to public, that is to encouraging the purchase of RSPO certified sustainable palm oil. So the RSPO annual communication on project progress provides the EU Commission the ability to benchmark the progress of European companies and industries. So by advocating for certified sustainable palm oil, governments can encourage uh, the deforestation-free supply chains and determine the future of our forests. So, what is the environmental impact assessment? That is the EIA. So, the EIA is a process of evaluating the likely environmental impacts of proposed project or development. That is taking into account interrelated socio-economic, the cultural and human health impacts, or both beneficial and adverse. So, according to the UNEP, EIA is a tool used to identify the environmental, social, and economic impacts of a project to decision making. So it aims to predict the environmental impact at an early stage in project planning and design. It is find ways and means to reduce adverse impact, shape projects to suit the local environment, and present the prediction and option to decision makers. So the last one is EIA use both environmental and economic benefits that can be achieved, such as reduced cost and time of project, implementation and design, avoided treatment, the cleanup costs, and impacts of laws and regulation. Next, how EIA fight deforestation. So there are 3 steps that EIA takes. First one is exposing key criminals, players in the transnational legal trade in stolen timber. Second one is advocating for improved governance and trade laws. One is working with partners and civil society on the ground. Our investigation expose the criminals, illegal timber routes, and corruption which facilitate a forest crime, that is using international laws to press for action and further reduce the scale of the deforestation. So the first one is exposing key criminals player in the transnational illegal trade in stolen timber. So according to the UN Environment Program and international law, South Asia has some of the highest deforestation rates in the world. That is unsustainable demand for high value hardwood is also a major driver of the forest loss. The logging of hardwood has become industrialized in many countries in the region. So the logging companies and gangs now have the capacity to move into a forest area and extract all available hardwood. The next one is advocating for improved governance and trade laws. Our forest campaign works globally and within Europe to ensure that government and businesses to timber trade laws and agreement. So we support the implementation of the EU's forest law enforcement, trade, government and trade, that is FLEGT action plan that aims to reduce the illegal logging by strengthening the sustainable and legal forest management, that is by improving the governance and promoting trade in legally produced timber. This one is working with partners and civil society on the ground, or our investigation exposed the criminal, illegal timber routes, and corruption which facilitate forest crime, using international law to press for action and further reduce the scale of the deforestation. So, putting in a nutshell, we must unite to overcome this problem so that we can reduce the negative impact of deforestation. We also have to take measure on everything we do so that we can sustain our environment, so that we live in a happy world or country or region. Yeah. Lastly, we must together save the environment so that we can live in a better place in the future, not just for us, for our son, for our grandson, so for our future generation. So thank you. That's all from me.